I'd say, well, probably through both, but I think games are, practice is one thing, but then you can put them in situations where you can try to simulate how people guard you and stuff like that. But the reality of it is, I think you can find out more in games. And we're not giving up by no means on playing two bigs. That's not the case at all. But I think the thing that has probably heightened the attention is the fact that I think we know that we don't have to. So I think that should elevate everybody's else sense of urgency, knowing that, you go from three bigs split in 80 minutes. Now you're going to three bigs split in 40, which is a huge difference if in fact that we can't find a happy medium, which I'm sure we will. I don't doubt that. And usually during, Duke was the exception, but during most non-conference games, you're playing against, mid-major opponents, which don't have the opportunity to recruit as many bigs. So naturally, they're going to play smaller. So that kind of sometimes forces you to do the same. If in our situation, if you want to be able to defend the arc. So I don't think it's anything we have to, be concerned about or decide what we're going to do come conference play right now, because I think we'll end up doing both.
Please remember to use microphones.
Yeah. Tate's already screwed up the whole deal. All right, let's go back to the beginning and start all over again.
Hey, Coach, how are you? No. Any developments on that? How has it looked in practice? How are those, especially the fours?
I actually think our offense looks better with four guards in right now. That doesn't mean, the thing about it is you can play two bigs and not be as the way, bigs are different. Brian Cook, we played, 6'10", 6'10", but he was our best three-point shooter. I mean, and even here, you play Markeith and Marcus. Well, one of them or both of them could always be a threat, and they're both great passers. And it's just our skill set with these bigs are more bangers than they are probably passers and perimeter shooters to keep defenses honest. So it can still look good, but I don't see really a huge reason to play two bigs unless we're better on the glass, unless we're better rim protectors, unless we're better screeners, things like that we can control from a physical standpoint. And if we do those things, then you can live with the things that you wouldn't do as well if you played four guards. But there has to be something that bring to the table. So if we don't dominate the glass and we can't defend the arc, then why play two guys? I mean, those two guys that are out there need to be dominant as far as being able to rebound and protect and be good ball screen defenders, things like that. That's not anything earth-shattering. That's just kind of how it is.
How's Isaiah Moss looked since the game, and are you gaining confidence in him, or you've probably already always had confidence in him?
Oh, I always have confidence in every player, so always. No, Isaiah is he's doing well. Yeah, he's doing well. He's moving. He's moving fine. He's not had any setbacks at all. I still don't think he's 100%, but he's closer to it. And obviously he's a guy that you stop and think about it. And just using Isaiah as an example, if we're as good a rebounding team playing four guards as we are playing two bigs, Isaiah is obviously a better offensive threat. So that's the kind of stuff I was talking about.
You mentioned that the offense is probably better with four guards. Defensively,
right now, yeah.
Yeah. Defensively, what do you look like with two bigs? Are there issues that you see with playing two bigs defensively?
Our two bigs, which are true bigs, it's not like they're really tall guards or they're perimeter four men. Our two bigs, our bigs are big. I mean, so it's the same thing I said earlier. How are we going to guard ball screens? And if we switch, can one of those guys, Sylvia or David, stay connected and be a good perimeter defender? And if we don't switch, how do we get back to shooters? So that would be the thing. If you play four guards, we can switch, and it shouldn't be quite as difficult. But that's the kind of stuff that we still are working on. But in defense of those guys, They've never done it before. Silvio's never played on the perimeter, and David's never played on the perimeter, so this is new to them as well. I think they're getting better at it.
Bill, can you talk about your 3 new guys?
Yeah, I can. We signed 3 yesterday, and I guess we got the last one in today. But you know, and I said this on the show the other night with Brian. There's been a lot of years where during the fall period we're not even, you know, have what's thought to be a highly nationally ranked class. And I'm not saying this ranks up there with Joe and Wiggs and you know, Selden and Frank and those guys. But I do think, considering everything that's happened, I think it's a terrific class. And they're all 3 were our main targets. I mean, I don't think we could have recruited better than what we did at the respective positions that we were recruiting. Jethro, to me, is one of those guys, kind of like a Markeith Morris. How good can he get? I mean, his ceiling is high. He can run. He can jump. He made 2 or 3 threes the other night in his high school game, and he plays in a highly competitive situation. He's going to be really good. And he's active, shot blocker, but he's not ready yet. But he's going to be really good. And then of course Bryce, you know, I've known for a long time, and you know, we couldn't have recruited a better ambassador / player than Bryce Thompson for our program. He's terrific, and he's a combo guard. He'll be able to play some on the ball, but certainly play off the ball. And we've always had our most success with combo guards. It seems like to me, play multiple ones out there, and you know, I think he's got a chance to be a special player, and he's got to get stronger, obviously, and improve in some areas. But he's got some things you can't teach from an IQ standpoint, and then Tyon is, to me, he's you know, if he was here now, you know, he'd be playing all the minutes now. I mean, he's really a good player, and to think that he just grew up down the street and has just blown up like this over the last 12 months is pretty amazing. But he is, I don't know if you guys have followed it, but what people are saying about him that follow that game are raving about him, and deservedly so. He's a 6'7", long, do everything guard. So I don't think that we could have done a lot better than what we did based on our situation, and really proud to have all 3 in the fold, because they're all 3 going to be terrific players.
What kind of, you talked about the situation, but also what kind of advantage in terms of just having a full or almost full class this early?
I thought it was more important this year than most, just because of the unknown that waits out there, and I don't mean unknown as being bad. Unknown could be positive, but you just don't know when this will be concluded. So if it's concluded in the summer, you know, you're under the same situation in the spring as far as trying to bring guys in. You're not any closer, and I thought it was important that we get some guys early, just to have, you know, 3 good players in the fold that you didn't have to worry about when it was going to end, and so to have 3 guys like this jump on board now, I think is a pretty strong move on their part, but also more importantly, it helps us out, and certainly changes, in my opinion, what has been a fairly negative narrative that's been put out about us.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of those guys, all 3 of those guys, and they've all said they've kind of been reassured about the situation from talking to you guys.
Yeah, they've been reassured that we're being honest with them.
Right, okay.
They haven't been reassured of what the outcome's going to be.
Sure.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, we've been straight with a lot of people. Playing at Kansas is a pretty good deal for the vast majority of recruits out there. Playing at a place of this this tradition, this history, this interest level, this recent success. There's a lot of things that go into attracting kids to come here. And yeah, we're dealing with a situation that we don't know the outcome is, but those other things I just mentioned do not go away. And so that's why I said over time, the Kansas basketball program will always prevail over time. You know, there may be some situations in the short term that obviously could be considered a loss, but over time, I mean, it's 120 years. I mean, you're not going to totally set something back that's been so successful for so long over something that over a span of that time is such a small span. Although it happens to be now, so that makes it huge to us. But the Kansas basketball program will always prevail, and I think this recruiting class is kind of evidence of that.
You talked about in the past about the situation kind of impacting recruiting, maybe missing out on some guys.
Yeah, there's no question.
Last year or whatever it was,
and this year, yeah, we missed out on guys this year.
Okay, yeah. Did it make it? I don't know if easier is the right word, but did it? Once you received the notice of allegations, it was sort of like, well, here it is. I mean, did that help you be able to talk to these kids and their families about what's going on instead of it just being like, is it coming, what's coming, all that? It's
no, I don't think that particular receiving that in any way, shape, or form helped, because obviously what was in it. But I do think it is a step that's closer to finality than what it would be if we haven't received it yet. So to your point, I do think, I don't know that it helped, but I do think in some ways it gives the appearance that at least in the hopefully not too distant future we can move forward.
Hey, Bill. Inside baseball a little bit, but what have you thought about your team icing ball screens this year with that coverage?
You say inside baseball?
Yeah.
I actually think that against Duke it was awful, and I actually thought the other night it was pretty good. So, and in practice, I mean, we work on it a lot. It's something that I think would be best for us if, in fact, we're able to do it, rather than you know, having Doak or whoever get out to hard hedge or whatnot. So I'm not saying we couldn't do it, but we've practiced it and we weren't very good at it at all. So I do think downing or icing, we call it down, but icing the ball screens is something that will be good for us. And even more importantly than that, it'll help us play against teams that do the same thing. And obviously there's some teams in our league that are very good at it.
And I just wondered, too, what led to maybe you guys playing more this year or deciding to play it more?
So that our bigs could stay connected. You know, if you look at it, Villanova, for instance, Villanova did such a good job of overloading one side of the floor and setting a ball screen on the single side, and then the guy that pops out of that is Spellman, when he shot 9 threes against us. So in one game, a center did. Well, they just played to Doak, edging the ball screen middle and throwing the ball back, and it was naked. You know, you could be in a full rotation and things like that, but I think with our team, without getting into it too much, I think our team is better to stay connected, big, and little, as much as they possibly can, whereas maybe their team was more comfortable with these guys can slide and guard whoever. So I think as long as we have the bigs that we have to try to keep them as connected as possible. And that was the biggest reason for that.